Hey guys, we're here from MoneyMark Experience, number 3 in our experiences. We're here today with actually Ray Lee, the founder and CEO of Aryvve Technologies Limited. And we're on site here, actually at Island Village in Ocho Rios. Ray, welcome to our show.
Yeah, man, thank you, Mark. Really appreciate this. Yeah. Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I am perfect. I'm excellent. I'm in Jamaica. So can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
You're building the brand of Jamaica.
Yes, absolutely. Brand Jamaica is something that I'm passionate about. Yeah. I mean, I was born here, grew up here all my life, and it's nothing better than really promoting this brand.
Yeah. And we popped down here before. You're getting the office ready. The office now looks great.
Yes.
The brand looks fantastic.
Yes.
How did you kind of come up with the brand and all the colors? You got a lot of Jamaica bright, attractive colors in the brand as well. How did you kind of come up with the name of the company and the brand as well?
Yeah, man. So I wanted something that was an action word, and exploring the different words. Thought of Aryvve. The actual spelling wasn't available on GoDaddy. So obviously I had to mix and match and come up with a sounds like. So we came up with Aryvve. And then of course, being Jamaica, we are very an enthusiastic people. We're very outgoing. So the colors red, gold, green, and works perfect. And so, that we came up with the design. I mean, obviously tried and all of that stuff, but yeah, man, we then come up with the loop over. So it just gives sort of an action feel to it.
And your location, where we are right now is the old, Knutsford Express hunting ground where they got going in Island Village.
Yes.
Any science, any strategy behind that, or this was just, entrepreneurial luck, something that you just got going in as your head office?
Well, I'll be honest, it's entrepreneurial luck.
Okay.
We wanted to be in this space, but obviously, Knutsford was here, and then when Island Village got new ownership, that opportunity came about. I think Knutsford moved to another location now, and funny enough, I've used the service many a time. So I've gotten off here, I'll go to the coffee shop, I've been in here, purchased tickets, and so this location is then becomes strategic because, as you know, cruise business is huge in Ocho Rios. That's a big thing for Ocho Rios. And this is where a lot of clients will come by, and Aryvve being the app that really allows clients overseas to really book their transfers before they get here. This will be the hub for them to get your drivers back and forth. And then of course, we sort of have the exclusive with Island Village, where clients who come to shop in Island Village, they'll use Aryvve to get here. When they go back home, whether it be a gated community or Airbnb or even back to a resort, they'll use Aryvve to get back. So
and Ray, you're the legal name of the company, Aryvve Technologies Limited.
Yes.
Is it are you receiving customers here at this point? I mean, is it more admin or how is the whole kind of flow working?
So what's happening with the flow, a lot of the clients, believe it or not, we're getting from our travel partners overseas. And that is a relationship of, working in the hospitality for over 30 years, I've built that relationship. So we find a lot of our travel agents are recommending the service because of the convenience or reliability. We do get people come up and ask questions, but for the most part, it's through our travel partners, it's through Instagram, it's through Facebook, it's through just word of mouth. People have used the application and found it to be very easy, spread the word, they're shared on LinkedIn or here or there. And so that's how business has been coming so far.
And how old is Aryvve so far? I mean, it's a startup business.
Yes.
You're going through the motions as any entrepreneur is. Congrats for taking the plunge.
Thanks.
But how old is Aryvve?
So Aryvve is 2 years old. We started early 2019, and what we did in that first year was a lot of testing. So for at least 9 months in 2019, we were testing. I was going back and forth. We're testing it, different areas and fine-tuning it. And then December 29th, we actually launched. And then we got our first client in March of 2020. Is when we got our first client, and that was an exciting.
So you had this whole research and development R&D phase.
Yes.
Get the technology going.
Yes.
The app going.
Yes.
And but really, first revenue was about a year ago.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
How many sleepless nights? Lots of stress.
Absolutely. You have to be all in. There's no other way. You have to be all in, and like it's a lot of sleepless nights. And the developers are actually in India. They actually
Okay.
in what an area called the Silicon Valley of India. And so working with them, as you know, they're 11 and a half hours away. I mean,
Timeline.
Yes. So a lot of nights I'm up 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 1, because that's their 9 o'clock, that's their 10 a.m.
Did you find that process, easy, or were there communication gaps or just understanding gaps? Was it lots of ups and downs? Did you think it was gonna like break you, or was it just easy peasy? Or
no, it wasn't easy peasy
what was
at
it
all.
like?
What I'll say is they have been very accommodating. Working with them has been, very accommodating. But the time frame, and of course, if there's an issue, then you have to wait until and they're available. So we had the connections was a challenge at times, but it's really sticking with it, sticking with it. And because I built a relationship with the owners of the company, so they really were looking out for my best interest. They knew this was for Jamaica, so they're excited about that. They know there are a lot of
that was
roots
like
here.
all, like in all your scope of work, those little background calls and everything.
Yes. And so, but for the most part, I'll say it was pretty. I wouldn't say it was easy, but they were so accommodating. It felt that way, and I didn't feel too challenged.
And you still got a relationship with those guys.
Oh,
as
absolutely.
You get customer feedback now, and you tweak this app.
Yes, absolutely. And there's so many features to this app. That's what I love about it. And we'll be, as we grow, we'll be exploring into those features as well. We have the courier feature to this. We have the Eats feature to this. We're able to accommodate corporate clients on this app. So there's so much more to this app that we just really tapping into.
And Ray, do you have a full-time job now still, or like what you said earlier, are you all into Aryvve at
Yes,
this point?
I'm all in, 110% in.
You made the jump in?
I made a jump in, yes, 2 feet first. So my full-time job is Aryvve and running this and getting this really going, and the Jamaican audience knowing about it. My previous employer was with the Sandals Group, as you know. We lost an amazing man there, Mr. Stewart. So, but that was a very influential part of my life, working for the Sandals Group.
How long were you with them for?
So I was with Sandals on their sales team for 8 years, and I was in Texas. I managed half of Texas and the state of Oklahoma. I was their sales rep, and I was the one who really encouraged travel agents, trained them how to sell brand sandals and brand Jamaica and all the island sandals are in. And prior to that, I worked in the Four Seasons Hotel in Atlanta, where I live. I worked in New York at the Carlisle Hotel, where I lived also. And before moving to the United States, I worked with Sandals as a teenager.
So you've always been doing service and sales and just being like the sales guy.
Yes,
always.
It's in my blood. It's in my blood. And growing up, sales. I didn't know anything about sales going to high school and that sort of thing. But when I got my first job with Stanley Motors, selling, component sets and GTR component sets for those who are of that age, and home electric stuff, that's where it all started, and it came natural.
In those days, were you getting commission, or did they give you like a salary or a stipend?
No, it was just a salary, a straight salary. I was the new kid on the block.
It wasn't too aggressive in Jamaica yet, where they just say, come and work and we'll give you a commission.
No, it wasn't like that. It was come in, share expertise, and it was a natural sell for me. So if I knew about the refrigerator, if I knew about the blender or the TV, I'll talk about it.
What, not aging you, but what was your salary like in those days when you were at Stanley Motors?
$75 Jamaican a week.
A week?
Yeah, a week, $75 Jamaican. Yeah, and I was happy with that. And the good thing is I lived I lived in the Manor Park area, so I would walk to work and walk back home. So that was easy. So I had money to, if I need to go out on the weekends, I was good to go.
Did you love your first job?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Is that
was it the money or the job?
Well, I'd say it was the money first. But, when I started getting into the sales and when I saw the feedback from clients, then I fell in love with it. Because when I was able to sell a fridge to a lady who was, looking for something for her house, And when she said, listen, you know, this working good for well, I like this, and that made me feel really good.
So
and
like
said it become more about that.
The recognition or just seeing that satisfaction in her eyes.
Yes.
And the compliments.
Can't get enough of it. You can't get enough of it. So when the client compliments you or say, listen, you know, you're right. I mean, that is like the highest of highs you can get.
And in hindsight, you stuck with, do you think it's that feeling that made you stick with sales, service, or marketing for, you know, this whole period of time, like throughout your career?
Yes, I think so. You know, I'll tell a story. You know, my dream goal was to be a pilot. That was what I wanted to do.
Really?
Believe it or not, you know, I lived in Kingston. I had my next door neighbors were pilots. They were both pilots for Air Jamaica.
They get good salaries.
I know.
Good benefits.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what but when I got into sales and then,
did you ever try to go to like pilot school, or did you ever
No, I didn't get that far.
You didn't take that
No,
that
I didn't
jump.
take that jump, but I had all the magazines, I had the pictures in my room and that sort of thing. But
did you like buy the hat and the uniform or no?
No, didn't went that far at all. But
did you go to your neighbor's house and try on the hat?
No, I didn't.
No?
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember one time. Funny enough, I'll give you a quick story on you know, flying to New York. When I moved there in '91, my next door neighbor said, you know, Ray, when you're gonna book your flight, make sure it's, you know, you book my flight. So I did that, and he was able to bring me up to the cockpit. And I mean, this was back in the '90s on the A300. I mean, it was amazing. So that was an awesome experience back then. So that's the closest I came to just having that experience. But
so you never did like a Leonardo DiCaprio or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
All right.
None of that.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah, none of that. But you know, when I joined Sandals, that was when it really took off. The
whole sales experience.
Yes, the whole sales experience. Yes, and I was very good at it. Confidence through the roof. I was, you know, the best at what I did there, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't about the money at all. The experience was one of the best.
So if you run into like a, you know, old friend or a friend, and they say to you, you know, you've been doing sales, you've been doing marketing, you know, you're like the consummate sales guy, and then how in the world do you know pivot into technology? You know, how do you like, you know what changed in your life, or what happened to you where you went into, you know, tech. Or you were able to find these, you know, programmers, or how did you make that you know, mind-boggling decision?
Well, it's all come through. I saw a need. You know, in my role as a sales representative with the Sandals Group, I, you know, travel to the islands throughout the Caribbean that they have resorts. And every time I go to any of the islands, especially Jamaica, when I come to Jamaica all the time, I always sit in the front seat with the drivers, and we have a lot of conversations. And of course, when you go to the resorts, you'll see the drivers sometimes, you know, they're on downtime, idle time, they'll be playing dominoes, that sort of thing. And then also when I'm staying at these resorts, I'll see clients who will go up to the front desk and say, hey, we want to go into town to do shopping, could you call someone for us? And they'll call Devon, and Devon is in town, tell them 20 minutes, I'll come get them. And so I saw where there was a disconnect there. Okay. So when I saw that drivers weren't connecting with clients and clients aren't connecting with drivers, that's where the idea came from. And then in more conversation with drivers and more conversation with clients, I realized there was a need.
So you saw a gap.
Yes.
And it's actually, in a way, it's a synergy to tourism, which you were in.
Which is what I know.
Okay, so you saw, and again, you're talking to drivers. It's kind of in sales. You're talking to them. They're opening up to you.
Exactly.
So in fact, there were a lot of synergies. It's just that you need this technology now.
Yes, they need the technology, and as we evolve, you know, Jamaica is a developing country. We're evolving. The highways now are completed, and there's still more to be completed. And I saw where transportation now is becoming a main driver, not just in tourism, but the economy in general.
Yes.
People are now able to get to different cities, locations a lot easier. You know,
very true.
You know, so that is a big shift, and so more gas stations are going to pop up at the edge of an exit, you know, when they get off the exit
similar to
stores,
similar to the US or what you've seen in Atlanta.
Exactly, and that's how like the US, that's how they grew. When the highways start going all over, and that's how more hotels come in, that's how, more stores, more restaurants, and that's how you get off an exit in any other cities in the US, you can count, you're going to see these 3 restaurants, these 5 restaurants, a Starbucks, and this and that. Yeah. So that's what I see happening in Jamaica and will happen in Jamaica.
And at first, when you conceptualized Aryvve, was it in a way a marketing play? When you thought about it, and then you moved into the kind of tech concept, or as you just said, was it logistics, transportation, or was it kind of all of these 3 things running through your mind at once?
Well, it was more, I would say, logistics and transportation. I see where we have a lot of drivers that were available, but they're just not being, it's not done in an organized or being dispatched in an organized manner. I felt like, having this application where it will connect drivers and clients, I think that will be the solution to that issue. And in terms of marketing, Jamaica, we are, you're one of those islands, probably the most popular island in the world. If you go anywhere in the world, any corner of the world, and ask about Jamaica, someone doesn't say yes, I know them. And so
the brand Jamaica,
phenomenally strong. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, we're the heartbeat of the world.
Yes.
So with that, I wanted Jamaica to be on the cutting edge. I wanted Jamaica to be one of the islands now that it's offering this sort of technology. I don't think this is being offered in any other island right now, wherein clients can now book before they get to the island. When they get to the
so they can book in advance.
So if I'm
coming in from wherever, JFK,
yes,
Miami International, I can actually book before.
Yes, they just go on the app, put in where they want to be picked up.
And in your opinion, Ray, what's the value of booking before versus just say I hit MBJ and I book when I'm there? What's the value of booking before?
It's comfort, it's safety, it's ease. So with the app, you get to see a picture of the driver who's going to come pick you up and the vehicle that's going to pick you up as well. So it's that comfort in knowing that, okay, I know this person, that their name, whether it be Kevin, is going to be picking up in a blue bus, that sort of thing. Then also it's cashless. So once you make the booking, and the booking is complete, meaning you get dropped off at your resort or your Airbnb or at your residence, then it's complete. And then so there's no haggling in the price and how much do it, nothing like that. It's more of, you'll see the price, you agree on it, so you just hit confirm your booking, and then that's it. And so when they get to the airport, they'll meet with our representative who will escort them to their driver, and off they go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you just mentioned you actually have representatives now, whether it's at Montego Bay Airport or at some of these locations?
Well, Montego Bay Airport is where, as a matter of fact, we're actually in the final stages of setting that up in Montego Bay. And so we're excited about that. They're excited, we're excited. And I think, like everything else, as we start to grow, more and more people are going to see that this is the way forward.
As your brand gets out there more, or referrals, word of mouth.
Absolutely.
So hit me with some of the numbers, Ray, and the details. I mean, how many drivers you got on this thing now?
All right, currently 80 drivers are on the platform. 80 drivers on the platform, and we are looking to grow to at least 120 this year. What's unique with
so 40 more. You want to get another 50% or so on your head count.
Yes, absolutely. Because what's unique with,
and you feel good about that. You think you'll get there?
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we've been onboarding. Matter of fact, last week we onboarded another 6 drivers. A week before, another 5. So we're really, because word's getting out, drivers are realizing that this is a great option for them.
You find culturally in Jamaica, small world. Are you picking up the drivers through word of mouth, in their communities, just word of mouth from each driver, speaking to each driver, or is it just your marketing and your technology bringing in drivers?
A little bit of both. I find the referrals, driver to driver, is what's the biggest one that's driving it, because they're happy with the experiences so far, and of course we have marketing brochures out there out in the field as well. But for the most part, when I get the call, it's like, I have a driver who wants to get on board, how much more, can you send me some information? So I've been getting a lot of those calls, and, Walcott, our island manager, he gets a lot of those calls as well. They'll come here to the location as well. So, and they're vetted, all the drivers are vetted. What's unique is every driver that's on the platform are all certified Jamaica Tourism Board drivers. These are drivers that are heavily invested in their business. They have really nice vehicles.
So it pushes a lot of credibility for you.
Exactly.
Character,
Exactly.
Safety.
Exactly. So we have pretty much got over that hurdle. But we still do our vetting, because again, the service delivery for us is always going to be 5-star. That's something that's ingrained in me. I have no other idea to do anything less than 5-star in my, yes.
Excellent.
So with the drivers that we have, that's what I exhibit, and it's just amazing. They're so committed. This is something they've been doing for 5, 10, 15. There are drivers with us for 30 years.
And as a part of your sales pitch or Aryvve sales pitch, it's it's incremental revenue for them. It's ability to earn, especially with the pandemic right now.
Yes.
COVID-19.
Yes. So another nice thing about Aryvve is the fact that this doesn't take any driver away from their day-to-day. They can still do their day-to-day. They can have on the app. If they have a passenger in their vehicle and a ride request comes in, they can reject it and it will bounce to the other driver. Or if they're they just drop off someone and they're driving from Ocherius back to Montego Bay now, they just have on the app, and maybe someone from Richmond, Draxall, somewhere, connect with them to get to another location. So what they like is the fact that it's an additional earner for them. So it doesn't take them off from their day-to-day.
And it really, especially in these times, it helps them with their families, their kids, just bills. Yeah.
Big difference.
So it's a real, especially what's happening in tourism.
Exactly. Yeah. We all know tourism took a huge hit in Jamaica, with the drop in arrivals. But like everything else, when I speak to people, I say, the old saying, this too shall pass, but like everything else, it will get back to where it was. Yes. Because Jamaica, we have so much going for us.
Do you have any thoughts? I mean, I know that the tourism, I think it's a tourism board, or the tourism minister has put out some predictions or some stats. But do you have any thoughts or for Aryvve when you think things will normalize or maybe get to pre-COVID levels again in Jamaica?
Well, I see things getting normalcy. In a true normalcy, I would say next year. But in terms of start to the needle moving, I would say third quarter of this year. And I say that because the vaccine is out and it's going through its phases. Remember, this was a warp speed push to get a vaccine, so they're still going through some of the teething phases of what are the side effects, that sort of thing. But for the most part, what's coming out, I just saw something in the New York Times yesterday, where the cases have dropped and a lot of the numbers have dropped. So that's
in New York specifically?
Well, no, throughout the U.S., the United States.
Okay.
United States, yeah. So the New York Times reported that, the cases have dropped.
You think just Biden coming in has just dropped the cases immediately?
No, I think it's just...
I'm just teasing you.
I know. No, man, it's just people that are just committed to getting this under control.
Okay.
And I think that it's all about consumer confidence. Consumer confidence, pre-COVID, you're on a plane and someone sneezes, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So when the confidence come back, which I think after the summer, I think that's where you're gonna see. So I think fall of 2021 is gonna be something really nice for Jamaica, and I think Aryvve will benefit from that.
Which you'll assume will really benefit Aryvve and help your business.
Absolutely, because as in speaking with people in the business or travel partners and all the different stakeholders, Jamaica is number one for destination when everything comes back. People want to go closer. They want to be closer. Of course, North America.
You just hear so much about Mexico and Jamaica. Yeah. You really do hear.
Yeah, well, Mexico.
You're right. Yeah.
Mexico is. People are Mexico. I mean, the thing with Mexico is that it's sort of a mental thing. People feel it's close because they can drive. I mean, it is. When you feel like you have to get on a plane and you're flying over an ocean to get to where you go, you just feel like it's far. But but Mexico is just a long way from a lot of cities in the U.S. But Mexico, give it to them, they're in a category by themselves. And I don't like to say Jamaica competes with Mexico. It's just two different. What have Jamaica going for? Not only we're English speaking, but our personality. Our personality is like none other. I mean, people just feel joyful, happy when you land in the airport, whether it be a stop when you get in a coconut and a man chop it off and then cut the spoon for you to get the jelly. These are the things that people just want a piece of us. And so when the Jamaica Tourist Board theme, came up, heartbeat of the world, I mean, just fitting, so everybody want to come to Jamaica.
And how do you see, where do you see Aryvve going in the sense that, you mentioned, okay, that the app has a capacity, right, for courier, for food or eating.
Yes.
But are those things implemented now, Ray, or is that more like, for future build out or on the horizon?
Those are going to be for future build out as we scale. Once we start to get into third quarter and the numbers are starting to come in and people are getting more comfortable utilizing the app. Because as you know, in Jamaica, we're like a touch and go sometimes. We put our toe in the water and then we decide. But once we get comfortable, and when I say people are talking, locals working in hotels, working in various industries, with manufacturing, banking, insurance, when they come to listen, I don't need to drive and wrestle with anybody on the roads today. Let me just order a ride to where I'm going. So with that being said, we're really looking at, with our local audience, there's going to be opportunity in a space where we're going to be moving people around in buses as well, and we feel we have a lot to bring to that table. We endeavor to be in other Caribbean islands as well. I've received calls from Trinidad, St. Lucia, and Guyana already.
So persons are picking up on your brand within the Caribbean.
Absolutely. Okay. I've got multiple calls, and I said, listen, we're building out Jamaica. Well, we're gonna get to you though, but it just shows that the technology is out there. It's here to stay. You don't want to be scared of it. I always bring up the thing about online banking. I remember when online banking came out, I was no, people got to take on my information, and no, it's the thing to do.
And where are you covering now? Like if I'm a potential customer of yours, or for the app, and I'm in Kingston, can I use it, or are you covering? Are you still doing, your like a parish to parish rollout, or what's the vibe like? How does it work right now?
Well, we're island wide, so the entire island is covered. I will say though, the majority of our drivers are on the North Coast corridor. So from Westmoreland all the way across St. Mary. And
was there any strategy there in hindsight? You're coming from tourism business. Was it that really Aryvve's network maybe, or your drivers were originally on the North Coast corridor at first? Or?
Yes. So because I've been in this business, so it was more tourism centric. When I concepted the idea, it was more focused on sort of the tourism side of things. We had Kingston in mind, but we know Kingston, because of the population and density and all that is something that we will tackle separately. But for an easier rollout, North Coast, coming into Montego Bay, obviously the busiest airport in Jamaica, and with the clients going from different hotels.
And is there any strategy behind it? Or is it that you felt like the tourism needed an app, or was it less maybe saturated?
Absolutely. When we looked at how transportation is done, the dispatch system, it's still writing up a receipt and that sort of thing. Well, with the app, it's you get all of that. So it really takes care of all of the sort of the manual work. So when a customer makes a booking and they get to their destination and they hit complete, immediately they get an email with everything: picture the driver, what time they pick them up, drop off, the driver's phone number, the license plate for the driver, all that information in the body of the email. But they also get an attachment, and the attachment shows the same
once
thing.
The guy or lady, once the driver pulls up, they can just boom and check everything out.
Yes, everything is there. Yes, and they can rate the driver 1 or 5 star. We only maintain 5 stars. They can write a comment, was great information on the way down. And they can also tap on favorite driver, which is a nice feature that, we like Kevin, we want Kevin to come back and pick us up when we're going back to the airport. You just hit favorite driver, and what will happen, the next time you make a booking, it gives you an option. Do you want to select, do you want it sent to Kevin, or you want it sent to any other drivers available? Yes.
And when you conceptualize this, or even now, I mean, is it, do you have a market like, listen, this is just as simple as saying Aryvve is a Jamaican Uber, or do you say, look, no, I'm not that, Aryvve is Aryvve, or what do you compare Aryvve to globally, if somebody was asking you to explain really and truly what Aryvve is to really?
Well, Aryvve is more of a customer-driven app. And I say that because that's where a lot of the focus is. We want the ease of use of the app, but also the cherry on the top is the drivers. Now, you have used Uber, I've used Uber, great drivers, but Uber has a very cross section of drivers. We are very specific with our drivers. Only
meaning more selective.
Yes,
from an in-house perspective.
Yes,
or,
exactly.
Okay.
Meaning from a sector, meaning in the tourism sector. So all our drivers will always be Jamaica Tourist Board certified drivers.
Okay, so you're not necessarily just like any rideshare app.
Exactly.
You're a bit more selective of it at this point in time.
Exactly, at this point in time, yes.
Okay.
And we feel that has been working out well, and I think it really puts us in a sort of a different niche, so to speak.
Interesting.
And yes,
yeah.
and then we're able to really meet the demand of not only the tourism sector, but as I mentioned, there are so many gated communities across the North Coast corridor as well. We have returning residents who are coming in, who are used to using the Uber app, and know they want something similar, but being in Jamaica, they want to make sure that they feel like they can feel safe about it. Well,
yes.
Their drivers are trained, and these are drivers that's what they do for a living.
And are you seeing any comparables, any competitors within the Jamaica landscape, or specifically now, the North Coast, as that's where you're saying you are now? You're not really as focused, on the South Coast or Kingston yet. That could always change. But any competitors popping up, any comparables to Aryvve?
Well,
that you got to keep your eye on.
What I'll say is in the tourism space, the direct competitors I don't see. I anticipate that will happen soon, but I do see. I mean, you have the 876 on the go. There are other that does similar in the app. You have 876 Get. I think they do the eats or food delivery sort of thing. And so what that tells me is that people are really catching on to this and understanding that this technology we shouldn't shy away from, but really embrace it. What COVID has done is really sort of reset things and let people. It's almost like Jamaica just sort of reset. When you do a reset on your phone, and then you decide which app you're gonna keep and which new app you're gonna add on. So that's the phase that we're in right now, and I think Aryvve is gonna be at the forefront.
Right,
it's the forefront in this segment, in this tourism segment, and that's kind of where it all started. But I think it's trickled into the local audience as well.
That's excellent.
Yeah, man.
And where do you see, Aryvve ideally, because you mentioned all the different products or the capacity the app has, where would you want Aryvve and Ray to be 3-5 years from now?
Well, Aryvve 3 years from now, our goal is to be on the Junior Jamaica Stock Exchange.
So you and your partners or shareholders, you would want to be a listed company?
Absolutely. Okay. We think that we want a buy-in from the Jamaican public and to embrace the technology and believe in it. But we want to grow in 5 years in a few other islands. Like I said, I've gotten calls already. I think once we build it out with our partners, then we'll confidently go into other islands. And again, Jamaica being the third largest island, I mean, we have the population, a lot of the other islands, a few 100,000 here or there, but they still want that convenience. And people will pay a premium for convenience, So,
and what would you say? Because you mentioned the growth potential, expanding into other parishes and so forth. But what would be your biggest priority for this year, 2021? Are you having to, like a lot of companies, are you having to pivot into maybe any brick and mortar right now? Whether that's brick and steel or maybe you might have to, get some assets because technology can sometimes be hard in Jamaica. But are you having to do anything to protect yourself against COVID-19?
Well, it's funny you brought that up. We are actually doing a little bit of that because we have identified some opportunities where until the numbers start to increase in terms of arrivals into Jamaica, we will, we have really identified, that space where we'll have sort of that express service where we have locals now who want to just go directly. We're talking non-stop now. We're just from point A to point B with no interruptions. We have identified some opportunities there, and I think Aryvve can really make a difference there. We're bringing with us the 30 years of hospitality experience, and we know Jamaicans are now savvy consumers, and they will pay for a premium, and it's been proven time and time again. And I think we'll be able to really make a difference there. So we're looking at that. We'll be heavily in some discussions right now, and I think within the next quarter, I think you're going to see something from us that that our local audience will embrace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right now, you're 2 years in, as you mentioned, but a year since first clients or revenue.
Yep.
Are you still kind of in the cash burn phase, the typical, trying to get this business right?
Yes. Not going to be shy about that. Yeah, man, not going to be shy about that. We're all in the same boat right now. So cash burn, definitely, it's happening.
Okay.
But, it's, at the end of the day, it's really about what you believe in. Mm-hmm. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe in this concept.
Okay.
If you think 10 years from now things are going to be the same the way it is now, you're just not with the times. Mm-hmm. Within, as you know, every April and October there's a new phone. The October one comes out for the season, the holiday season, and things are upgraded, software upgraded, and that's what's going to happen. And then customers are going to get, they're going to want to have to keep up with the times as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm very confident in the concept. It's just a matter of one of those situations, you get in early and you build. The value is going to be there when you get in early, because 10 years from now, we're going to be talking, Aryvve is going to be like, oh, Aryvve, yeah, man, it's the norm. It's the norm, Mm-hmm. I remember being, working on the sales team. I remember, it's about 26 of us were going to dinner, and the only way to get to dinner is using the Uber. Mm-hmm. And 4 of us was called an Uber, and each vehicle could fit 4 or 5 people, and just like that. It's just, and they were there with convenient,
disruptive,
and so
exactly,
fast. And that's what's going to happen. And that there's no if, ands, or about it.
Are there any issues you're seeing, or when you get your customer feedback, whether it's into you, your call center, anybody, or your drivers? Mm-hmm. Is data or Wi-Fi, not necessarily for a local, but mm-hmm. if it is, but focusing on tourism at first as mm-hmm. your initial strategy for Aryvve? Is there any issues you're finding that when you do get feedback, however you get it, mm-hmm. when a tourist comes in, maybe their phone is not working, or they're just not getting data, mm-hmm. or is that not a issue you're seeing?
We saw in the creation and research and development with Aryvve, that's one of the things that we were looking at, and what we have discovered, the majority, I would say a good 80% of North Americans come to Jamaica with data already. As the plane touch the tarmac and they turn on their phone, they're getting their updates. So they're already set, yes. So
they're okay.
They're okay.
And how do they know where do you download the Aryvve app from now? Is it on both platforms?
Yes, it's on the Apple Store, it's in Play Store, okay. So they can download.
You got a lot of advertising in the airport now, Ray, or is that coming on stream?
That is coming on stream, with our desk. Mm-hmm. At the airport, that's gonna help, but it's getting out into the various cities. The Baltimores, the New York, the Atlantas, the Torontos.
So you're actually going to try and do it overseas, or directly to them.
Absolutely.
Is it expensive to do it that way, or do you jump on a?
Well,
I don't know, like when they log onto the Wi-Fi in the airport, you can get a pop-up, or just how does it work mechanically?
Well, on the ground, we're going to have a sales team that will be visiting the different cities and
mm-hmm.
the diasporas, and really, getting the word out, whether it be through, high school old boys associations, and really just, getting into the chambers, different Caribbean chambers in the different cities. So that's, one of the avenues that we've been looking at and we've been getting into. But in terms of the social media, so Facebook and Instagram and that sort of thing, if you Google Aryvve Jamaica right now, you'll see that. And when you Google, funny enough, a lot of people come to Jamaica. Is there Uber in Jamaica? And so what will happen?
So you do see that a lot?
Oh yes,
Okay.
yes. And so Aryvve will pop up, and then they'll look at Aryvve and what we offer.
Is that when you say pop up? Is that through the whole Google search engines,
through the Google
or
search
the
engine.
SEO? You're trying to really get yourself elevated or as much as possible at the top.
Yes, absolutely. So as we build that and the numbers start to increase, you're going to see more and more of that. And of course, the more the more questions, the more times people request that information,
Brilliant.
we're going to get that.
So I know you got to keep your team lean, and I know you got the 80 drivers. But when you look at your real full-time staff, whether it's Island Village or wherever you got your teams at, whether they're remotely, what's like the full-time staff complement like? Yourself and just the kind of the core team like.
Well, the core team right now is myself, and I have an island manager. His name is Walcott Hall, and he's been doing a phenomenal job, really getting in, the nuts and bolts and just drilling down into some of these gated communities, and onboarding drivers. Myself, obviously, and then I have some part-time sales rep in the eastern and western region, and these are people that will go into the boutique hotels and Airbnbs and talk about.
So you're starting to do, whether it's with your island manager, yourself, anybody else, you're doing direct sales.
Yes.
So similar to what we've seen with maybe whether it's a DMC operators, the tourist attraction companies, or the lounges. You're taking it right to the end user.
Absolutely. That's
what do you take to them out of curiosity?
Well,
how do you get these? How do you try and onboard them?
Well, first of all, we have our brochures, or we call them rack cards, and we have our device, whether it be a tablet or actual phone, and when they see that, I'm right here at this point in the grill, and they see that I bus book a trip to another point in Westmoreland or wherever, and it operates, and we're like, whoa, okay, this is in Jamaica, this is good. So the actual display or an actual showing how it operates always really wows them. That's number one. And then when you start to share the features of it, that you can add your, if you have team members that you want to have transfer back and home, from home and back to work, that we can add them, or when you have clients, and the use of it, so they're also impressed with that. So that has been working. I mean, we know all what's going on right now with COVID, but the interest is there, and it's very, very strong.
Excellent.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That sounds good. And Ray, we haven't spoken a lot about you personally.
Yeah.
Growing up, which has made you into the man you are today. And getting into this whole entrepreneurial, vibe and race, and it's all new for you and exciting. I'm very, proud of you, and it's an exciting time.
Yeah, man.
What what was childhood days like for you, and family life, and made you into the guy you are today?
Well, I grew up with my grandmother and my dad. So growing up with your grandmother, the foundation is solid. You have to
tough.
Tough.
Kind of matriarch.
If you want to go to a party, you make sure you bed off a spread, you add off a sweep up, all that stuff. You want to go to the fair or whatever. But
so you're a regiment from young.
Yes. And it's funny. You always tell a story. You always, you always want to push back on that. But when you get to adulthood, you realize, man, okay, they really don't tell us the right thing.
Yeah.
But growing up, I grew up in the Constant Spring area. So I grew up just down the street from Manor Park and Immaculate High School. I went to Constant Spring All-Day School right there, and back then, to get to high school, you have to take a common entrance. And education is key. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And back in the 70s, the most popular schools were Kings, Casey, and Calabar. I mean, that was it. And
you're not wearing the purple today.
Well, there's a little bit of purple right here.
You're looking kind of Calabarish there.
Well, this is Jamaica colors. Yeah. But no, man.
So you're a Casey old boy.
Yes, Casey old boy, and past the common entrance. And walk up the street and get the big gleaner and look for my name. My name is there for Casey.
Yes.
And what a tradition they have there, so strong,
Do
such
you
a strong
do you go
tradition.
to a lot of boys' champs? And I know,
Yes.
of course, obviously with COVID,
Yeah.
you know, it was cancelled.
Well, yeah, it was cancelled, but let me tell you something.
any
Boys'
alumni,
champs
you go
is,
back to some of the
there's
alumni
nothing like it.
events.
Nothing like it. They're absolutely, and if you see it on TV, you look where Casey, in the stands where Casey audiences go all the way around. I mean, we live and die about boys' champs.
Yeah.
And even though, I mean, we got back, you know, we're back in, you know, we're now champions, but, you know, it took us a while and we weathered the storm.
Had a lot of years of
Yes,
despair,
a lot of
Calabar,
a lot of years. Yeah, man, a lot of years. And, you know, whether, but, you know, we always throw it back and I'm listening. We win it 16 years in a row. I mean, you know, where are we then? But, you know, but it's a friendly rivalry. We'll love it.
Because you really became Calabar's beating stick.
For a little bit, but you know, listen, when we get to the Domino's table and we'll go back at each other with stuff like that. But no, man, it was a tradition that I enjoyed, and you know, I did the sciences when I was in high school, and you know, I felt like
you got 8 1s in 16.
No, I wasn't. Other guys in my class. We had some guys in my class. Oh man, those are the ones, all ones, you know. But you know, you
I noticed you're running from the question. You're not going to tell us how many ones they got.
No, man. There are some numbers. There are single digits. There are single digits. Nothing past 3. Everything was 3 and above. Everything was 3 and above. But
it's good enough.
Yeah, man. And you know, I remember even because you know, Casey, we have 2 sides. Elliston Road, I have North Street, and I remember when Gosman was just starting, his location was right there. We was to pass by and see that and look at, you know, the company it is today.
You got that internship at Guardsman? Or
No, I just remember going by and see all they had, the canine security and you know, looking back later on and working in tourism and realize, they do a lot of service for a lot of hotels and all that. Like, wow, you know, I remember that as a little youth. But, you know, and I remember feeling like a celebrity because when I passed for Casey, well, Junior Tucker was still going, but I think he was in maybe 4th or 5th form getting ready to leave. But back in the day, Junior Tucker was a big deal, deal. So to know, you went to that school, it's like, yeah, man. And then, you know, you have the back and forth with Georges and Casey. I think Ziggy Marley was at Georges at the time, so it was a big deal when we played on their field or not.
You played any sports or anything in your
time?
Yeah,
I played football, but I was a big track and field person, so I was going for the KC track team. And then I was doing well, but my grandma was like, listen, this, because I was on evening shift and they were training after, I was getting home late, 9 o'clock, and she's like, no, the books first, see this thing. And so, but I'm a big track and field person, and you know, so I kept up on it, so I know everything inside. I want to come on to track and field, and we talk about that. And then you know, left high school, and like I told you, I worked with Stanley Motor, then with Stanhouse, then moved to New York in '91, and that was an experience in itself.
You've always mentioned that you have a big passion for food and beverage. Where did that kind of drop into the mix? You know, kind of outside of your experience with Sandals and now, you know, your kind of entrepreneurial bug with Aryvve. How did F&B come into the mix?
What was interesting is not only, you know, growing up, you know, you stand beside your grandmother and watch how she cook and bake and that sort of thing. But when I got my degree at New York City College, which is down by the Brooklyn Bridge there, in order to get your 4-year degree, which is a bachelor's in hospitality management, hotel and restaurant management, you have to complete your associate degree in culinary arts. So you have to learn how to cook before you can get to the 4-year degree, and that was mandatory. So that got me into the food and beverage, and it just amazes me to see how the chef, we have to have.
So you're a good cook, a good chef.
Yeah, man.
You've
maintained
it or continued.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so that's how I got into the food and beverage. Then, you know, completing my degree in the hotel side of things. And then, you know, when I moved to Atlanta in '99 is when I moved to Atlanta, worked with the Four Seasons, and then I left the Four Seasons and I managed a very popular restaurant at the time called the Shark Bar. It was the who's who of athletes. So Michael Vick would come there, Ludacris would come there, Jermaine Dupri, all these guys would come there. It's a big deal, and I was running that, and it was
What type of food was Shark Bar?
Shark Bar is southern, so you know, people want their comfort food. That's southern, so candied yams and mac and cheese and the fried chicken and the catfish and that sort of thing. So that was a big deal. Lines to get into that restaurant, man, lines, because I had a restaurant on the top floor and then a club on the down floor. So that was big experience. I did that. that, and then it's no longer there. I mean, there's a 20-story condominium there right now. The land was sold. So worked for a steakhouse in Atlanta called Stone River. Never had so many steaks in my life, and that was another side of things I would. And then I took the plunge into opening my own restaurant.
Okay.
This was in Buckhead. And
what type of food was
it?
It
was Jamaican. It was Jamaican cuisine, but I wanted.
What was it? What was the name of it?
It was called Star Apple Grill.
Star Apple Grill.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And so being in that.
Any connection to the Star Apple that used to be in Kingston?
No.
On Hope Road or
no connection. Just like the name and of course the fruit. But so we did that. It was a very small space. And I felt
just the traditional things like oxtail, curry goat.
Yes, we had that, but it was all.
Was it just takeout, Ray, or was dining?
No, dining. It was dining and takeout.
Okay.
But what happened is, we wanted to really display the Jamaican cuisine a very, a luxury way, so to speak. So we had, I had hired 2 chefs. So right there I was spending a lot of money right there. But the delivery was amazing. So we had jerk filet mignon, we had pineapple shrimp. When you see our plates with the plantains on it, I know it's
so you went to some of the higher price.
Yes, so our pricing was high,
right?
But our audience was really.
And you did that because the margins kind of get a bit better, or the net margins? Was that
no. I felt like that was what the neighborhood needed because it was in an affluent neighborhood called Buckhead. But it turned out my audience was really across the street, which was the Piedmont Hospital, and it was the nurses and the doctors would come over, and they just want a meal for $7 including drink. And so we had to really pivot,
kind of shift it.
Shift. And by the time we shift, I mean, business started to pick up really nicely, but it was pretty too late. It was too late. It's
amazing though. There's nothing like food, especially Jamaican overseas.
Yeah, man.
And boom, just it seems like you always gravitate back to food.
Yeah,
it's
man.
amazing.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing story.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So having experience in both sides, I'm very happy about that because you have some people there on just hotels, you have some people just restaurants.
And what took you back, home? It seems like no matter how well or how long a Jamaican is overseas. We always talk about the diaspora. There's a conference here now in Jamaica. I think the government does or the agencies do, but no matter if a Jamaican is overseas a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, they always come back to their roots, or they come back home. In your case, I guess Aryvve has brought you back home. What else? Is there something else that has carried you back to Jamaica, or have you always missed it, or has it been in your destiny to come?
It's been in my destiny to come back to Jamaica. My goal was to go overseas, get my degree, and come back and work in the hospitality industry. And when I decided to do that in '99, we ended up moving to Atlanta. Yes, it's closer to Jamaica, but ended up moving to Atlanta, but still stay in hospitality. But always wanted to come back and operate a business here. I was always on the table. So in working with the Sandals Group, it got me closer to Jamaica. I've always been in touch on the ground, what's going on, reading the newspaper and that sort of thing. I think it was 2019 when, Aryvve was conceptualized. The Prime Minister came up to Atlanta. Honorable, Andrew Holmes came up, and he had an event that was hosted by Dr. David Panton. So we attended, and he was talking about Jamaicans coming back home and pitching the idea. Listen, we want, and he actually, funny enough, was pitching technology. So listen,
get the brains back.
Yes, he was saying, listen, we need some Mark Zuckerbergs in Jamaica. We need the Bill Gates down here, man. And I was just beaming because Aryvve was right there. And after the event, I met with them. I think Aubin Hill was there as well. And then that's right after that is when I started coming down and pitching it and doing the testing and all that.
So is that what sold you, or you were sold before that?
I was sold before that, but that just gave me the jolt. And so listen,
so your blood just got going.
Yes, I'm like, somebody's thinking the same way I'm thinking. And so, I was down here within a month or two, meeting with Aubin Hill and really pitching it and showing how it works. And, so this has been something that's been, really been building.
Fascinating.
Yeah, man. So,
that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's how we want to wrap it.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thank you, absolutely.
No, that's it. Thank you so much. We're here actually at Aryvve Technologies Limited. at Island Village. This is their head office, their corporate office, with Ray Lee, the founder, CEO, chairman of Aryvve. Thank you.